Hey guys, this is the reading for Aquarius. All right, what are the messages for Aquarius? Spirit, tell us the messages for Aquarius for the month of October. Aquarius has been off grid for a little while. I feel like Aquarius might just be getting back in town from doing something like a work trip or something that took them overseas or out of the country. Like Aquarius is coming back to their hometown or somewhere that they haven't been in a long time, in order to pick up some pieces that they left behind. This is what's at the bottom of the deck. Some pieces that they left behind of their life. I feel like Aquarius has kind of been on a journey, which is a very Aquarius thing to do. I keep saying that word over and over again. I feel like it's possible that you guys are speaking of yourself in kind of a third person, as if you're the main character of a story, which is true, it's real, but of a story that you are creating, that you're reading. There's this element of being both in the self and outside of the self, viewing your life as a story, talking about things as in, yes, so-and-so did that. Whoever this person is that I was embodying, I had this experience without realizing it's you always in the experience, as if you're a character, if that kind of makes sense. It's kind of how it's coming across. I feel like wherever you have been abroad, traveling or working, or even just kind of away from your typical daily tasks, your any kind of regiment or discipline or way of things being grounded. I was losing the word. I was like some sort of like a wake up schedule. There's been very little schedule in your life, and I feel like it's now coming back to kind of balance things. And I don't mean necessarily, it's not a balance as if you were imbalanced, but balance with the person you are when you're remote, when you're out in the world, when you're a leader, an archetype of a creator, a seeker, a healer, whatever it is, an activist that you do out in the world. You're now returning to a more mundane life, something that involves, I feel like, there's a relationship even, returning to even a relationship, or one that wasn't so much that was left behind. Maybe it's possible that there was a relationship that was left behind, but it feels more that was put on a back burner. Something that was decided that it would wait till much later in time. I feel like there's now this strong desire for the Aquarians I'm reading for here to pick up to see if there's any semblance of another path, another timeline, another opportunity to it's funny, it's almost like a going back in time, but at the same time moving forward from where you are now, because we can never fully go back in time. It's like there's a frustration about this of, why can't I do all the things I want all the time in every moment? Maybe that's just the Libra energy of the eclipse and everything. It's almost like loose threads. I feel like growth had to happen, deep inner growth, inner emotional healing, purpose work, soul level work. I feel like all of this is playing a part in this energy that you're coming back to. It almost feels like the world for you isn't real right now. That it's not, that if you're not creating your world, then it's just somebody else's world. It's kind of abstract. It's like if you're just going on a waking up in the morning and doing, very mundane activities, bathing, eating, checking emails, maybe going to a job, maybe not. Or, doing grocery shopping, driving down the corner. It feels like all of these elements are of little importance to you in comparison to the epic journey that you've already had. But I feel like this is something that your guides and spirit is preparing you for, not a mundane life, but a more grounded existence in a different way. And I feel like it's something that will require you to be more emotionally connected, more emotionally expressive. Um, I feel like I'm almost like losing my voice because there's an element of this that does not necessarily feel super fun for you. It feels kind of like, oh my gosh, like I have to now explain who I am, what I think, how I feel, what's important to me, and it seems like a lot. Like the world either gets me or it doesn't. And I feel like you're the type of person who is used to just, if the world doesn't get me, or somebody doesn't understand me, or a group of people don't get me, I just leave it and go somewhere else where I am, where I can find myself or relate to others. And I feel like you've spent a lot of time doing that. And now I feel like your message is really about coming back to yourself, and also back into like a more structured way of living in society. I'm, I'm not sure who this nomadic, it feels like a very nomadic energy, like world traveler. And even if I know not everybody is able to just go and travel the world or work abroad or remote or travel, so this won't necessarily be every single Aquarius is in that, but it is also a living for the self, for the spirit and the soul. It's interesting because I feel like with other some people, as we know, have trouble breaking outside of the matrix, outside of the box, if you will, outside of a conditioned way of being, to take chances, to live vicariously. Whereas for you, you're that's in your soul. It's the song of yourself. I feel like that's what I'm going to call this reading, Song of Myself, which is actually a Walt Whitman poem. I love that. Maybe you should read it. It's a really famous poem. And it's about being able to integrate all of those beautiful lessons, learning opportunities. That sounds so silly how I said it, learning opportunities, like you're in school or something. But I feel like when you reflect on everything you've been through, you tend to look at it as school of life, right? It's the school of life. Aquarius very much attends the school of experience, not necessarily what some sort of agenda that was told to us by the collective or the mainstream. But there's an element here of kind of moving into a new direction. And I know I'm not really calling out the cards. You can see them. This is honestly more of a channeled message about the cards for your energy. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of revealing of deep emotions that's going to bring you into a sense of self-discovery and sharing who you are with someone else. I'm going to go like that. Oh, I knew I pulled from the bottom of the deck, but sometimes I do that. It's kind of like a wild card. It's like what we don't see, but that's heavily influencing those. That was a bunch face down. I'm not taking up. I feel like Aquarius is hesitant to let themselves be seen emotionally because it's vulnerable and it feels unimportant. Like it's less important than the nuance of living, than the bigger picture. This is little picture stuff now, but it's not little. That's the thing. It's just how you're looking at it as little picture. This is actually important. It's like, I think of like a French New Wave film, the black and white films from the 60s, where it's like the whole entire hour and a half is close-ups on people's faces just to see their expression and their outfits. It's the nuance, the scene, the setting, what's unsaid. between the two characters. And I feel like this is really, really something that is playing out in your experience right now, or is about to, and it's definitely going to play out for longer than just October, throughout this next phase. I feel like it is a form of an awakening, something that is bringing you out of a particular dharma way. It's almost changing your life into such an extraordinarily radical way that you will actually be pleased at just the at just the thought that, wow, I can still be radical even in a mundane environment. Does that make sense? It was really abstract and hard to kind of like speak in words, because it's like you don't need to release your philosophy. You don't need to release the way you see the world, or what makes your soul song who you are, but you're just taking it into a different type of environment, into a different setting now. Instead of being spread out amongst large scale, macrocosmic elements of others and communities and collectives, which is very much an intrinsic focus, the unseen, for Aquarius, and what need to be filled for others. This is like a focusing on not just what need to be filled for you, but for the people or person closest to you. And I feel like this isn't a specific career or love or any kind of reading like that. It's general, at least for now, these first readings, but there is a desire for a relationship. And I feel like you kind of know who this person is, but maybe you haven't talked to them in a while. And I feel like you're not sure even how to break the ice, but I feel like you're being guided here to break the ice, to reveal your insight and what makes you special. That sounds funny, how I said it. It's almost like, and I don't necessarily mean create a dating profile or, like, this is who I am, this is what I like, these are my hobbies. Not like that, but your way of living, your life, the way you feel life should be lived in accordance with higher purpose. That's what I'm trying to say. I feel like you're maybe having trouble seeing who you are from outside of yourself, because there's a point of almost like this irony of, yes, part of me goes and does these things. You have such a large soul that you can go and have multiple life-changing experiences and still come back and almost be unaffected by any of it, just kind of come back to mundane world. And it's like a fear of identifying with the mundane world, and almost like forgetting all these big universal experiences you had. So I feel like your guides want you to be mindful about identifying with the container. You are the container. That's really cool. That's beautiful. It's very immense. You don't need to identify so much with the space you're in, the people you're around. You are the inspiration and the philosophy. It's okay to share your innermost feelings, because that is your source essence, your soul song. I said that a few times. Yeah, I feel like it's the doorway into the next steps of your life experience. And it's not like, I don't feel like your guides are saying, if you don't do this, like, do this or else you're not gonna have another life experience. It's gonna come to pass anyway as the wheel turns, but it's important to be able to share who you are with others on the inside, and know that you accept you. God accepts you. That's enough. You don't need to be worried about if other people will accept you. Because on contrary to that, you not only are accepted, but you're inspiring. So it is a bit of a reframing of the way that you always have participated with life. But at the same time, your radical philosophy and great spirit of high consciousness is just being shifted into a new way of being. And if I feel like the final message here is guides want you to know, like, even small gestures can be radical if they're new. I hope that came through. Even small gestures can be radical if they're new for you. That's brave, that's courageous. So I feel like this is a really beautiful reflective reading for you. Thank you. Bye, Aquarius.